Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Ericson Presents Mixing Tutorials. Today, we're going to talk about my master bus. And I'm going to show you what I put on my master bus. And I'm going to answer some questions about whether or not you should put anything on your master bus. Now, for me, when I mix, I actually like to put things on my master bus. And when I'm doing an entire album where I'm actually mixing and mastering the project, I will master on the master bus inside of the session. I don't export the mix out, put it into a separate session, and then master all together. But I'm going to show you how I'm able to do that in the same session, but still make sure that it matches each song from the album. So I'm going to go through all that. I'm going to show you how I do it, how loud I like to get things. Yeah, there's really not a lot to talk about, so let's just get right to it. Oh, by the way, before I go, for all you people who say you're not supposed to mix into your master bus and you're not supposed to do that, in my opinion, I think all of you people should shut the fuck up. Simple as that. All right, other than that, let's get to it. All right, so we here. Okay, so here is my master bus, and I'm constantly changing my master bus around. Now, you might not have all the things that I have, but I will let you know what it is that I do have. That way, if you would like to try out this master bus there, you can see where my mind's at. This master bus chain, then you can do so. So I always start with a SSL bus compressor. That's always the first thing in my chain. And when I put this on my master bus, I actually mix into this. So I am starting out every single mix with this on. I'm using the Just Blaze Master Bus preset, and it sounds pretty cool. So like I said, I always start with a SSL bus because I'm mimicking the board. So everything is going to be going into this from the SSL board. So that's why I use that as my first plugin. Then my second plugin that I'm also mixing into is a tape emulator. I like the Headroom preset. I try not to let this hit into the red. I'll turn it down and I'll try to let it hit, anywhere between, I think this is -7, somewhere in there. So if it gets a little hotter, that's fine. But I tend to try to stay out of the red because when I am in the red, my mix is a little more distorted than I would like. The tape emulator is saturation. So if you don't have the Studer because you don't have UAD, then any tape emulator would do just fine. But I do turn off the noise because I don't want the noise. I want the warm, but I don't really want the noise. So yeah, those are the two things that I always mix into. And then those aren't the two things, I'm lying. I mix into a limiter. So I guess I'll go to the limiter straight, just so you can see my settings, because it's these three things that I mix it into. Everything between the tape emulator and the limiter, I tweak that after I'm done or I have my mix in the ballpark. So this is how I set up the limiter. Transparent I use, but if you don't have this limiter, then I just have the slowest attack possible and I keep the release fairly quick. That's pretty much what you need to know about this limiter as far as how I like to use it. So the slowest attack, fastest, well, I wouldn't say the very fastest, but a fast release. That way the transients, when they come through, they're not being squished, and I can actually see what that low end is going to do in the limiter. That's why I mix with the limiter on, because when a limiter goes on, I don't want the low end to disappear or get overly squashed or anything along those lines. So that's why I choose to mix into a limiter. So those three things, which is my SSL, my tape. Oh, let me do this. So yeah, These three things is what I always mix into. And it gives me a fatter sound for sure. That's for sure. It does give me a fatter sound, and it gets me as loud as I want it to be. All right, so let's keep going. And I'm not one of them people that like to go into super detail, because I feel like most of you guys coming here is looking for the information in the fast way. So I'm just going to try to give it to you in the fastest way possible. If you have any questions, just leave those in the comments, and then I can make videos on things that you may need. All right. So I have I'll tell you why I have this later, but I have an equalizer here. So this is where I am doing a little shaping. I actually just added this today because I got it loud, but I wanted to get a little more oomph out of it. And all I simply did was I put this on and I turned on the turbo limiter, but then I used the second number. I used the number two compressor. I don't know what I'm trying to say. And that actually gave me the result that I was looking for. So then there it goes right into the limiter. And after the limiter, oh, I guess I have it on the other channel. I have my metric. And this is where I add different songs for referencing. So this goes right after my limiter. Now, after that, I have a graphic analyzer, which this analyzer is free for download. So I know if you don't have a analyzer, you can get this one. I'll leave the link in the description. Going back to this, basically any software you have where you can plug in different songs and you can A and B them is pretty much what this will do. Some people like to make actual tracks on their in their DAW, and then they'll drag in songs into that track. The only problem is you have to figure out how to route it around your master bus processing, which for me, I don't have to do that because this is going after my master bus. So as soon as I hit A and B, all of this is not being applied anymore. So that's why I have that there, and then I have it's going into the graphic analyzer so I can actually see what I'm doing. And then from there, sorry, I have more than one screen, so things are popping up on the other one. So from there, I have my loudness meter, and I'll show you what I do with this to make sure that I am cranked. And then the last two things, which I haven't been using a lot of, but when I do want to use to check, I'll add any type of audio room simulator plugin. Will go at the very end of the chain. That way, everything going through will be heard. So anyways, there's that, but I usually use the Sonar Works, and that's at the end of my chain. So that is what is all on my master bus. Now, I know I said that I do not bounce the track out, put them all in separate sessions, and then master that way. And I know doing it that way will ensure that they all sound the same. But what I use, that's why I use this. So I'll mix the first song, bounce it out, open up another session, and start mixing the second song. But what I'll do is I'll drag that bounced out song with the master and everything into here. So now I can A and B any song that I would like to A and B. And in doing so, I can make sure that the tone, the loudness, and all of that is all working like a cohesive project. That's how I get away with mastering inside of my session. And the reason why I like to do that is because I'm the one that's mastering it. So if I'm going to take a mix and I'm going to master it, and if I get into the mastering process and I hear things that I don't like, instead of me reaching for a tool to shape the master, I would rather reach for a fader inside of the mix and fix the mix going into the master. So it's like I have more control over that master outcome this way. This is how I like to do it. I'm not saying that you should do it this way. I'm just showing you how I like to do it. So let's see. I'll turn. I think that's right. So when I mix this record,
say DJ, let this play. DJ, let this play. Hey, yo, DJ, let this play. DJ, let this play. Turn this thing up.
Okay, so I know I said before in some tutorials before that sometimes I don't hear anything. Well, this is one of those times. When I press play, I didn't hear anything. But I'm pretty sure you guys do. So what I am going to do my best in still giving you the information that you need. Even though you'll be able to hear it, I won't. But that's okay. So I'll play it.
Say DJ, let this play. DJ, let this play. Hey, yo, DJ, let this play. DJ, let this play. Turn this thing up. Don't turn it down. No. Ooh-wee. Girl, you look good. Stand right next to me. 'Cause it's so hard to keep my hands off you. Nobody in this room can make me feel like you.
It really does suck knowing that I can't hear anything. But anyways, what I can do is talk about what each thing is, what each plugin is doing. I can do that at least.
Girl, you look good.
So if you notice, I want -4 or 4 dB worth of compression. That's what I'm usually going for.
Girl, you look good. Stand right next to me.
And then I go into the studer, and like I said before, I do like to get this needle hitting around -7 at the highest. I see it's -10, so it probably could go up a little higher, but because I can't hear it, I'm not gonna touch it.
Girl, you look good. Stand right next to me, 'cause it's so hard to keep my hands off you. Nobody in this room can make me feel like you do.
Okay, so that's going into the limiter, and I'm always mixing. Oh, I didn't even talk about the clipper, but that's okay. I'll get to it. I'm always going into, this is always up on the screen, so I can always see how loud.
Girl, you look good. Stand right next to me, 'cause it's so hard to keep my hands off you.
Now for me, is it stop yet? Now for me, I've been trying to get this album that I'm working on around -9 LUFS. I was doing -8, and I just felt like it was just a little too loud, and I was losing a lot of dynamics. But -9 is where I'm trying to like get this album to sit, because at -9 it is very loud, and that's I mean, for the loudness war, I mean, that's, you know, that's what we do. So anyhow, let's bring up. You guys have to bear with me. I do apologize. Not being able to hear anything it's making me do a lot of guessing. All right.
Girl, you look good. Stand right next to me.
So what I like about this analyzer is the way I have it set up is the green is my mono source, or everything. Yeah, my mono. And then this part is my size. So my mid size. So when I'm mixing, I am making sure that my sides information isn't getting out of control. This is actually, when I started mixing with this, like my mixes started translating a lot better. If this goes above this line, then you're gonna know that you might have some problems with phasing issues, or you might have some problems with mono compatibility. So that's why I like to use this analyzer at all times, so I can kind of know what's happening. And I do find when I'm mixing, I'm cutting out a lot of low information that I wouldn't normally cut out, which is pretty cool. Okay, got a little confused. I don't know if this is the most recent session, but I think it is. Anyhow, when I look at other songs, when I analyze through here, what I do get is let's see. All right, So what I usually normally notice when I'm mixing, when I'm listening to other songs, I notice that they usually have like a bump here, and then it kind of dips down, and then it kind of does whatever it does here, and then it kind of levels out. So with this little dip here, so you don't see it, it's not dipping right now. So then I went back and I added this EQ so I can get that dip. That's why I did that dip, because I wanted it to represent a little more into that dip. So yeah, like that's why I did that. So when I added this, it did give me a little more oomph out of the master, a little more volume.
Girl, you look good, stand right next to me, cause it's so hard to keep my hands off you. Nobody in it.
So if you don't have this plug-in, what you could probably put here is some type of compressor, some type of master bus compressor. I don't know what you have, but any type of mastering compressor would do the job. All I'm doing is I want to give it a little more, just a little more glue, any type of gluing compressor. And then from there, I'm going into a clipper. Now, the reason why I go into the clipper is so that the limiter at the end doesn't have to work so hard, because I'm taking off all of those peaks.
Girl, you look good, stand right next to me, cause it's so hard to.
So as you can see, I have, instead of a hard cut on my slope, I do have more of a smoother cut, just so it just sounds a little more musical.
Girl, you look good.
Now, as you can see, that dip is a little more in there now. So yeah.
Can make me feel like you do. I'm just keeping it real. I'm feeling all over your body. All eyes on us. Your girls are hating, but I don't care what they have to say. Touching all.
So we're bouncing between -9, -8. That's fine. Usually, I measure this based on the entire record all the way through. And as long as this long-term LUFS is -9, then I'm good. So that's how I like to work my master bus. I do a lot of compression everywhere. I do a lot of sub channels, sub buses, or whatever you want to call them. I do a lot of that so that everything pretty much has a signal flow that makes sense to me. And it's just control. Like everything about mixing is about control. Like if you can control every aspect of the mix, then all is good. So like if I went here, as you can see, this is how I can control it. So I have my vocals. But if I just want the instruments or the rhythm section, or the bass and rhythm,
I'm just keeping it real. I pull your body close until you feel my poke.
I just want you guys to know it really does suck not being able to hear anything. All right, so why I was kind of like stuck for a second because I didn't see this on here, but I used this the entire time. So I kind of want to show you a little secret. If you like this, call this a bonus. I'm giving you a bonus right now. So I got this from another YouTuber, and when I actually started doing it, it worked pretty well. So any EQ or any type of EQ that you have that has a brick wall limiter, this is what you would use it for. So I set that at 100, and then I'll open up another one. Oh, I'm tripping. I cut. And I'll set this at 5,000. Now, okay. So if you don't have any CLA 10s or any NS 10s, well then this actually might be something that you should be doing immediately. Here is that secret. So, between 100 hertz and 5,000 hertz is where most of the audible things you're gonna hear is gonna reside in. So, me cutting out this part and me cutting out this part just makes me focus in on just this part, which is pretty much what my CLA 10s do. So when I press play, and I really hope that this works out the way I'm envisioning it, because I can't hear it, but that's okay. This is what I do for y'all. All right. So when I mix a lot in this with this on. Like I actually tried it for this song, and whenever I made a decision, I would for each sound that I would mix, I would literally mix with this on, but then I would always turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, just to make sure I'm making the right decisions. And when I was mixing with this on, I was able to hear how the balance was off. I was able to hear sounds that were sounding annoying to me. And what you're probably gonna, let me, I guess I can pull up something so you can kind of see what I was changing. So let's see. Let's pull up that main verse. So this is the EQ curve that I came with after turning this on my master bus. So I'll turn it off. And this is what I had before.
You can be my girlfriend for the night. The mood is set right. I brought you another drink. I promise, baby, I'll never lie to you. I ain't perfect, girl, but I'm perfect at what I do. I'm just keeping it real. I pull your body close until you feel my poke. Girl, this ain't no joke.
And what does that translate to the real world? Let's go off.
That is business. You can be my girlfriend for the night. The mood is set right. I brought you another drink. I promise, baby, I'll never lie to you. I ain't perfect, girl, but I'm perfect at what I do.
And once again, I know I've said it 100 times, but it does suck that I can't hear it. But anyways, so what I found out once I started mixing like this, I found that a lot of my problem areas are here, here, and here. Almost everything that I EQ'd, I was pulling out. Let me make this a little smaller. Everything that I was EQing, I was pulling out a lot of stuff above 5K because I was realizing that I didn't need it for it to sound fuller. And it actually was sounding a little harsh to me, and pulling this out was making it very listenable. And then this part, made the vocal actually sit in the mix better. It was sitting outside the mix. It almost felt like the vocals and the music weren't together. That's just what I remember. Like I said, I can't hear it. But yeah. So that's why I like to use this. Oh, let me make sure I don't mess anything up. As a matter of fact, I just won't save it when I close it. Yeah. So in the chain where I put this is after everything, but before the simulation. That way, when I do use this, and I was A and B in between 24 Karat Magic, I'm not going to play it because I do not need a strike on my channel. But when I was A and B in between it, that's how I was able to get them to match a little closer. So if you already knew about this, then yeah, you should probably be using it more. And if you didn't know about it, you are welcome, because I promise you this right here will probably get you to hear a lot of things in your mix that you didn't know was there. But yeah, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification button. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
You know you got me, girl. Tomorrow, girl. I like the way that you move.